Welcome, everyone, to the Is This Love podcast. Thanks for listening. This is your mid-December episode of this show. We are here to answer your questions, talk about love, sex, and relationships, and, of course, navigate the weird and wonderful world of love. Because we're trying to ask that question, is this love? Shrug, because you can't see me shrugging. We are your cold and shivery hosts of this mid-December episode. I like to say that. For some reason, I am Francis, a.k.a. the other guy. And with me, as always, is the warm and snuggled up Sara Nade. Hi, Sara. How are you?
Hi. Are you talking about my hoodie?
Your hoodie it has like a fur lining. It looks very comfy.
It is. It's been really cold in here lately, so I've been wearing this a lot.
Nothing wrong with that. Again, it's a good color, right? It's very of the season. You know, you look like you're ready to go out into not the snow, because it snows
not
here,
yet,
though, right? It snows.
Actually, it was looking like maybe we would get some, but I hope not because I can't drive in the snow.
Oh, well, hopefully it stays nice and moist there instead. Everyone's favorite word, moist.
Yeah. You totally had me curious. Oh my gosh, it's 31 degrees right now outside.
Yeah. It's our favorite topic.
Oh no, there's little snowflakes on the horizon.
Nothing wrong with that. I don't know. I'm a big fan. Look, as a person who doesn't have to encounter snow very often, I'm a fan of snow. I like it.
I mean, it's fun. It's so fun if you don't have to go anywhere or do anything. It's great. I can just put on my boots and go walk in it, but I usually have to go somewhere and then I'm stuck.
I've never walked in fresh snow. It's only been packed. It's been there a while. It's kind of gross looking snow. I've never been in fresh snow.
No, fresh snow's great. It's great to go walk out when it's snowing. Oh, and it's great when it's snowing at night here because we have street lights. Ooh. So you can see it going past the lights. It's really cool.
Oh, that sounds great. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I want that. I want that in my life because I don't get that. The only time I've ever been in fresh snow was I was leaving home from I used to take a martial arts class up in the hills, up in the deserts of Southern California, and in the mountains it gets snowy, and I guess I have been in fresh snow, but I had to make my way home. I had a bunch of people with me, had to make my way home. I had to drive in fresh snow. Now,
ooh.
I don't have a car.
That's scary, though.
Well, yes, because two things happened. One, I now know what fishtailing is because of that event.
Oh, gosh.
I know what fishtailing is. And plus, we were driving down this freeway, into what would be considered normal weather. And this SUV was 2 lanes over. And all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, we're just driving at 20 miles an hour, the slowest you could possibly go. And this car all of a sudden starts skidding and then spinning, and then it was facing me for 30 seconds. No, not 30 seconds. It's facing me for 2 seconds before it slid off into the side of the freeway. I'm like, wow. Oh, that happened. Oh, no, never again. So,
I mean, because we're not in one of those areas where snowing is a big thing that happens all winter long. So we don't have a lot of snow cars or snow drivers. So we get a lot of that, you're driving along and there's people on either side of the road who just spun out and are stuck.
No,
so, it's scary.
No, the scariest I've ever been, I drove up to Big Bear, which is our big kind of ski area, with a nice little village. I love their little lake village there. So we're driving up to go and look at to see the snow or something. And it was me and my girlfriend at the time and her family, and we were driving this gigantic van. It looked like a bus almost. Mm-hmm. So we're driving up this hill. It's a windy hill. It's just cliff on one side, mountain on the other.
Oh, my God.
And we got to one point where, for some reason, the tires just refused to turn. But not only did it refuse to turn, the car decided to slide.
Oh, no.
For a second, it slid towards the cliffside of the road.
Oh, my God.
Luckily, with a little bit of the turn of the wheel, it slid towards the mountainous side, so I didn't fall. Luckily, I did not die that day, obviously, because I'm here.
Jeez.
But we had to find a way. Like, it was a terrible experience.
I'm really surprised that's not like the kind of road that they close when weather's bad.
You know, they didn't even normally people put chains up to do that, right? They're like, hey, there's an area where you have to stop. It's monitored by police. They're like, you cannot go up this mountain road without chains.
Yeah.
They didn't do that at the time. I guess they didn't think it was going to snow, or they didn't think the road was going to be that bad. But I wasn't the only car that did this. There was a bunch of cars that nearly fell to their death during that drive up. And it's like, we're halfway up. We can't turn around. We have to go all the way. So we did end up going.
That is terrible.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
It was a horrific experience. But anyway.
Yeah.
But that's not really what I want to talk about today on our little topic part of the show. It's actually going to be related to the show itself. It's the holiday season, you know. All the Christmas music has been playing. You know, you've heard all sorts of, you know, holiday jingles of some sort at some point or another. But the thing about this season that really always gets me, because it's a constant reminder, is this is probably, next to Valentine's Day, probably one of the loneliest feeling seasons, right? Like, people have a tendency to feel really lonely during the holidays because, A, sometimes they're not near their family. B, they're single, which is the vast majority of people nowadays anyway. You know, and so they don't have a lot of the camaraderie, I guess, or even just that kind of spirit of festivities and love and all that stuff. Because that's, you know, that's what the holidays are about, right? Is love, and, you know, all the Hallmark movies come out of couples getting together and all
the
this
Christmas
stuff.
romance.
Yeah, you know. And so, but it's, you know, to me, and I see this, actually. I see it online. I see it everywhere. It's it's a lonely season. It's dark. So, you know, that darkness kind of, you know, has that bit of tinge of loneliness to it, right? Because you don't, you know, you're just by yourself, and there's darkness everywhere around you. Earlier, at 5:00 in the afternoon, it's nice and dark. But, you know, you also told me that this was there's also another name for this season too, for people who are in relationships.
Oh, well, between like Thanksgiving, from Thanksgiving to Valentine's Day. That's not always what people mean when they say this, but a lot of people say cuffing season because they're like, you know, kind of handcuffed to someone. They handcuff themselves to someone so that they can have someone through that time, but also you like kind of can't break up with them during that time because all these holidays are happening and you want things to be happy, and you're introducing each other to your families. So you just got to wait till Valentine's Day is over to break up.
Well, yeah, right. Romance is weirdly tightly related to this time of year. It's weird. But I think it's because that's when you get to spoil your significant other with gifts, with, you know, occasions, right? You get to, again, spend time with each other's families and things like that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how we can, I guess, even though we didn't plan for this, but, like, how do you normally combat that? Or do you even feel that way? Do you personally feel that way during the holidays, where you kind of feel a little bit more lonely, a little bit more like, oh, I wish I had somebody to some degree? Because I'll admit I do. I mean, you know.
Well, last year was actually the first year in quite a while when I was in a relationship during the holidays.
Okay.
So, I don't know. I think it's always more lonely to not be in a relationship than to be in one.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like this time of year, it's even more emphasized because there is that aura in essentially just everything, right? Like, that's kind of what, outside of Valentine's Day, that's kind of what you focus on during this time of year, you know? Being in a relationship, having love, being, you know, having family, having a family, stuff like
Well,
that.
that's the thing is I do have a family and I do have friends, and there's people who have neither of those.
True.
And so I feel really bad for people who are just literally completely utterly alone during the holidays. I think they put the holidays this time of the year because it's so cold and dark and depressing, and way back in the day they were like, we need something light and fun and festive and community and warmth and all this stuff to be like now, because everyone's like, you know, cold and it's dark. So I'm not, I mean, I usually am only really spending a lot of time with people on the actual holidays themselves when I'm single.
Right.
But, you know, or I'll meet up with a friend to exchange gifts or whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know if this time of year is when I feel it the most or not.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think probably around Valentine's Day is, you know, the most obvious, and maybe my birthday.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't. Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, maybe just because, like, everyone else in my family is with someone, so I know they all have their birthdays taken care of, but then, you know, my family's like, what are you going to do for your birthday? Because they know I don't have a significant, which is so sweet of them. It's so sweet.
No, that's true.
But, so that just kind of was like, oh, right.
No, I get it.
But then I'm like, yeah, let's do something together. Thank you for asking.
Oh, that's good.
So, yeah, I think specifically like Christmas and stuff, I probably would notice it more. I'm thinking like after I had been in a relationship where I had spent at least a few Christmases with someone, and then it was like the first Christmas without them or something. That might make it more like, you know, that big hole in your heart or whatever people feel when they're like, I'm alone right now at the holidays.
Well, that is what it feels like. As someone who has had that, right? Like I was with someone who I had 7 consecutive Christmases with. They were the one who introduced me to like the bombastic part of Christmas and the holidays. Like they were the ones who introduced me. Well, because her family had like, they celebrated like several times during Christmas. Like, she had an aunt who had like a party where all the family would get together, and it was like tents and like food and everything. And then at Christmas and Christmas Eve, we would see her parents, my parents, her grandparents. Like it was all of this stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was huge for like year after year after year. She introduced me to the Christmas list, a gift list, right? Like, oh, what do you want for Christmas? Make a list. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, a wish list.
Yeah. It's like, why would you make a list, right? Like, you know, because that wasn't a thing. My family gave you one thing for Christmas, right? Just the one thing. You asked for one thing, you got the one thing, right? Mm-hmm. Like the best gift I ever got from my parents, well, it isn't the best gift, but the one I remember the most because I really loved it was I'm like 15, 16 years old, and I got the sequel to the Jurassic Park book. Michael Crichton's The Lost World, and it was a big hardback, and I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Gosh.
It was a great, you know, it was like I got to read this book, right? That was like my big exciting gift when I was a teenager, which is so weird for a teenager, I guess. But that was like, but I'm a nerd. But that was my big like, yay, you know. So I don't know. It sounds like that's typical in your families. Like, oh, the list, we got the list. Give us your list.
Well, I mean, little kids would give you a wish list, and it didn't mean you got everything on the list, but it helped the parents like know what you actually liked that year. So I would say wish lists when you were a kid. I mean, that's kind of like the letter to Santa, right? But as an adult, we don't do that as much. More what we do is, and I think we are going to do Secret Santa again this year. So yeah, I'm going to organize that.
Yay.
I feel like we haven't done it for a year or two, but I think people want to do it again.
Well, you talked about it in the last episode, so
yeah, it seemed like people weren't that into it, but now I think they're kind of liking the idea again.
Good.
So instead of like a traditional wish list, what I tell people to do is put a few things on their Amazon wish list so that their Secret Santa has an idea of what to get for them. You know, put some affordable things on your wish list.
Right. Yeah, of course.
And But not, and not like one thing that's $3 and then a bunch of stuff that's like $5,000. That's
of course. Right. It's so weird. What's funny is it's been a while since I've like gotten a gift. I'm curious what it's like.
Your
to get
parents
as a gift
don't send you anything?
They don't give me anything. No.
Really?
Yeah. We just like for our birthdays we treat each other. We treat each other to meals and stuff, but that's pretty much it. We don't really go out of our way because they have everything they want. They don't. There's nothing I can give them that is like, oh, surprise, and they're not. They're kind of homebodies too, so it's not like they like here's a trip to thing. I'm like, they've done it already. They travel all the time. They do their own thing, so it's like I don't have much I can really get them. But for me, it's like I don't know, like yeah. So I don't know what it's like to get a gift like that, like wrapped. That's the thing. I haven't had to unwrap a gift in a long time. That's what I should say. I've gotten gifts.
Our family are very big on the Amazon gift wrap option.
Oh, sure. They don't have to wrap it themselves. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing about getting presents for each other. I'm like, you guys have to update your wish list so we can get you something that you want, even though we know you could get it for yourselves. You just have to put something on the list so somebody can get it for you.
Yeah.
And my parents got me, I'm looking at it right now, I put a lot of practical stuff on my list. Like I don't have any table to eat at in my studio apartment.
Oh.
So I got one of those, I asked for one of those just like $20 folding tables. It's just like a single person table.
Oh, Merry Christmas to me.
Yeah, you want to talk about a sad gift, but I was so happy.
It's not a sad gift.
No. It's not. Actually, I've had people over and we've been able to almost fit 2 whole meals on it.
Oh, fancy.
So 2 people can practically use it.
Right.
It's really better for 1 person, but it can sort of be a 2-person table.
Right.
So it's, yeah. But it was practical and I still, still use it like every day. Well, I put a lot of stuff on it. I just put like pens and stuff on it. So I don't, I don't keep it cleared and like folded up and stuff. But
that means it's being used, which is a good thing.
It is being used.
There you go. That's awesome.
So I really appreciated that. Yeah, I put like practical stuff like that on my list and I love getting it because I needed it and I could have got it for myself, but I hold off until after the holiday and give other people a chance for my Secret Santa gift,
It's thoughtful either way, right? It's still thoughtful. Like, okay, I got a thing. Yeah. No, I like that. And I like how modern it is, right? I like how it's, there's no requirement that your family do the wrapping. It's like they'll do the company that is delivering the gift. Let them do the wrapping for you.
I think that's so funny. I mean, it's great. I ended up with, you end up with a lot of those bags, a lot of those Amazon gift bags.
Well, yeah, no, that's true. And
that's cool.
Lot of like, what do you call it? Cushion and stuffing and stuff to make sure that the product doesn't move. Like you want the you want the small thing, right? And then they put it in the gigantic box with a lot of just bubble wrap.
Well, it's really funny when they have to get out their really big gift bags for something big like this.
So they don't wrap them; they give you a gift bag.
They put it. Have you ever seen the Amazon gift bags?
No.
They're a sort of kind of a fabric. I don't think they're probably like made out of some kind of plastic, but it kind of looks like a fabric. It's got a drawstring, and they just get whatever one is big enough to put the thing in, and they drawstring it and they put it in the box like that.
Oh, that's nice. Okay.
Yeah, it's nice, and they're very reusable. So I've ended up with a few of those. I actually really like wrapping gifts if they're like small enough. So a lot of times I'll have them sent to me without the bag if I'm giving them to somebody else. But the bags are a great option if you don't like wrapping.
Okay. Well, there you go. A little, hint or tip for you before the big day in a few more weeks. You got a little bit of a little help there, and you got the bag because I didn't know. I don't know. I've never gotten.
Yeah, there's a little check box or something that says have it gift wrapped.
Okay. Well,
I'll
let when you got to the mall, right, and you see the high schoolers like, we'll gift wrap your thing for you, at the Barnes and Noble.
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, you're getting okay. We'll do it for you. just give our whatever our organization is. I don't know I forget what they are. I'm like, oh, just give us $5 and we'll gift wrap your thing. I was like, yeah, okay, high schooler, are you good at it? And then they usually are. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I did that job.
You did?
Nice. Not as a high schooler. I got paid as an adult to do it as a seasonal job a few years ago. Yeah.
As like specifically just to gift wrap.
We were hired by a big company to do it for their employees. They could bring down all of their gifts for their family. We would wrap them all for them so they could just take them and put them under the tree.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a schmancy company right there.
It's a very schmancy company. I had 2 friends who worked for it, so that's how I easily got the job.
Oh, there you go. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. I love it. Shows that there's all different types of work you'd never think was available and even existed. So that's pretty cool. All right. Well, look, hopefully you're not feeling lonely. Hopefully, even if it's just for yourself, get yourself a little gift-wrapped gift for the holidays. It's always fun to unwrap something. As far as I can remember. Again, it's been a while since I've had to unwrap anything. Mostly and don't be sad about that. It's mostly because gifts often come in bags now. They just put it in a bag and put like the little paper on top. So you don't unwrap anything. You just open a bag, take out some paper.
That's true.
And there's the thing. It's like, all right. So there's no excitement of tearing through like holiday wrapping. But whatever, it's fine. Speaking of fine, we got some questions, and we're going to help answer some questions as we get into the loneliest and also loveliest time of year. I only looked at the negative. This is also one of the times where people are most romantic, are most full of love, are when they go out of their way to scatter things that you'll have to clean up later, like rose petals on the ground and on the bed. Ooh.
That's a Christmas thing?
I don't know. That's just a romance thing. I don't know. Could be a Christmas thing, too. But anyway, let's get into this segment that we call Questions.
Is this love questions?
What do we got, Sarah?
Okay. What is the difference between loving someone and being in love?
Oh. That's a good question. Especially, again, in a time of where everyone's trying to love somebody.
Right. That's true.
Let's see. Loving someone versus being in love. I feel like being in love is... I don't know. I need you to answer this first, because to me, I'm gonna be cynical. Because my answer is gonna be cynical. I don't want to be cynical.
All right.
So I'm hoping you don't have a cynical answer to this. What do you think?
I don't think my answer is cynical, but we'll see.
All right.
I'm actually go with, I heard somebody else, or I saw someone else talk about this a long time ago, and I still kind of feel I agree with them.
Okay.
And that is that being in love is very much more like how you feel in the beginning of a relationship, and then maybe a few moments throughout the relationship, but it's not very often. And then loving someone is like the rest of the time, where you are choosing to love them. Maybe you love them because you're just happy and things are good. It's not the most passionate thing in the world, but you are still going to be with them. You still know what you love about them. You still appreciate them in your life. And then loving them can also be when things aren't easy, or maybe you aren't feeling any love at all, but you're choosing to ride it out because you know that that's temporary and that you're gonna go back to feeling love for them once you guys have worked out whatever issue you're going through at the moment.
Right.
So you can still be loving someone even when you're like not real happy with them, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, that's a good answer. Yeah, being in love is fleeting, while loving someone takes is effort, and also is just something it's like an act. Right. Being in love is a thing that happens to you. Loving someone is what you do. Right.
Yeah.
And, so I think in this particular case, right, someone asking like what the difference is, I feel like it's easy to kind of not mix them up, but feel like you're loving by being in love, you're automatically loving someone. I think people have that assumption, right? Like, well, obviously I love them, right? Like, I'm so in love with them, so obviously they're being loved. But then you do, you don't treat them very well, or you do things that are a little selfish because you're just, you're kind of madly in love, and so you do things more for you than you do for the other person, which can happen when you're in love, right? When you're in love, you don't really sometimes. I'm not saying everyone does this, but sometimes you're just in your own head about this person, and they're like, well, maybe they're awful, maybe they're not that great of a person, but you're so kind of in your own head of being in love that you don't really express any type of actual loving act towards this person. Instead, you just kind of obsess over the thought of being in love with somebody. That's oftentimes with celebrities, right? Like, think of celebrities, right? People fall in love with celebrities all the time, quote unquote, fall in love. But there's nothing they can do about it. There's no act that they can do. Or that's kind of how people look. This is going to get into some weird territory, but this is sometimes people who obsess over an individual. They just don't really know who they are as a person. Like, they just love the concept of this person, but they don't do anything that's loving towards this person. They just kind of like, I want to be around them. I want to shower them with gifts, but that's not necessarily loving someone, right? Showering them with gifts isn't loving somebody, or allowing yourself to be like their, not footstool, welcome mat. What is it? Where
doormat?
Doormat, thank you. Where they'll just walk all over you.
I like welcome mat.
You're their welcome mat, and
I'm not a doormat. I'm a welcome mat.
It's the politer version of a doormat, right? So, like, at least it's, they're allowing you in, right? Hello, welcome.
I want people to walk all over me.
Yes, please. Step all over me. But yeah, right? Like, that's not a very loving thing to do. You're not loving somebody by allowing them to walk all over you, take advantage of you because you're in love with them, right?
I feel a little bit like, I'm not sure if this is what you're talking about, but it reminds me a bit of the main character from 500 Days of Summer.
Yeah.
Where he was like super in love with her, kind of, but yeah, it was all like in service of his fantasy, and he couldn't really hear her saying, hey, I'm not really into a relationship like this.
Bingo. Yeah, that's it. That's totally it.
It reminds me of that guy.
Yeah. Which is, yeah, what a weird, that's a movie. If you haven't seen that movie, that's quite the wake up call for some people, right? Even though it you don't know if it ends well or not.
Well, hopefully he won't be like that with other people in his life. Hopefully that was something he learned from.
Right.
And he's like, I should listen to my partner in a relationship, and if they're not into it, then it's not a good relationship.
Yeah. Well, that movie plays with your head a little bit, right? Like, he's the main character, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, or Jogo-Lev, that's it. People call him Jogo-Lev. He's the protagonist, you think, right? You think, oh, he's kind of the person you want to root for at the beginning.
He is the protagonist, even though he's not as great as he thinks he is. That's like, yeah, that's the whole thing of the movie, is he thinks he's a much better and like more deserving person than he actually is. Yeah. Like, much more entitled to this love than he is, because you can't be entitled to somebody's love, right?
Right. There was an expectation. If I do this, I will get this. If I pursue it this hard, obviously I will be rewarded with this.
Right. She's saying this, but if I just keep doing what I want, then she'll eventually agree with me.
Right. It's quite the... He's kind of an anti-hero, I guess, sort of. But, like...
I don't know. I think he's more of like... I wouldn't even say anti-hero. I would say... What do you call it? Because an anti-hero is a hero that just sort of like a bad boy, you know? But this is like the kind of protagonist that could very well be, that would maybe make a better antagonist in like a traditional type story.
Yeah.
Like he's not a bad person because he doesn't like hurt or kill anyone or anything like that, but he doesn't steal or any of those things, but he's not really a very decent person when it comes to relationships.
No, but he's learning, right? This is, it's a learning experience, supposedly.
Hopefully he learns. Hopefully he learns to listen.
Right. Yeah, it is such an interesting movie, just for the fact that it sells you. I think that's why it got really popular, was because the trailers really sold you on one thing, and then you get this whole other thing afterwards. Like you get this completely different, not storyline, but different, I guess, makeup of what the movie is. So if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. I think it's a good. Maybe not now. Maybe don't watch it now. Maybe don't watch it now, when it's all of the happy-go-lucky holiday films, right? Like the lovey-dovey. Don't watch it. Watch it maybe next year. For this year, watch all the good, happy, warm-feeling movies, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to feel. You don't.
I mean, I don't know if I would even call it a holiday movie.
It isn't, but it's not. But I'm recommending it as a movie to watch anyway, just because it kind of goes with the topic. But I'm like, don't watch it now. Watch it later.
Okay, yeah. I do like that movie. I think it's a good. Yeah, I don't really know the mood I'm usually in when I watch. I don't know what to recommend.
I've only seen it the one time in theaters. I've only ever seen it once because I can't bring myself to watch it.
I've seen it several times.
Yeah,
I like it. There's just, I don't know why I like it either. I kind of like that other. I really like that other movie that's like with a protagonist that's. Well, he really is a bad person. Have you seen Nightcrawler?
Oh, I haven't seen Nightcrawler, but I do want to watch that. That's the Jake Gyllenhaal. He chases stories. Yeah.
Yes.
So
chases ambulances and all that. Yeah. I guess I sometimes like those movies where the main character, you're like, they're just not. Likeable. You just don't really like them. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're kind of, anyway. We've talked about this sort of before. You're the Fraudenscheiner girl, so you like the. Well,
I don't think that either of those movies have that though.
No, well, it does for the other people. Like they chase the bad stuff, right? And the Fraudenscheiner is for Jogolev. Like he has the bad stuff happen to him, technically.
Well,
technically,
I mean, I don't know. If you enjoy that kind of thing,
yeah.
I don't think I really watch it for those because I don't feel like there's that much of that in those movies. But I'm sure there's movies that have a lot of that I really do like. I just can't think of them off the top of my head.
Oh no, I'm certain of it. I'm
like revenge films and stuff like that.
Oh, definitely. Oh yeah, that's Sarah's cup of tea right there. But anyway,
they can be.
Yeah. So trying to know the difference between being in love and unloving someone. They're not synonymous. One does not necessarily equal the other, but as Sarah said, treating someone well and in that loving way. I don't know. Get them a surprise gift from their Amazon wish list.
Yeah.
Just surprise them. But like here, just have it appear at the door one day. It's like, oh, that's very nice. Somebody got me a thing, and it says just for being
great.
You.
Yeah, those things are so great.
Yeah. But anyway, so there you go. I hope we answered that question properly, even though we went on a tangent on movies, but that's fine.
Can always go on a movie tangent, so watch out.
Yeah. Well, at one point, I think, as I say this out loud and not say it after or pre-show about like whether or not how we're going to do kind of our next couple of episodes, because they're going to kind of recording times land during the during times we have off.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to kind of talk about what we're going to do about that. But I do want to do like a straight up New Year's episode where we just kind of reflect on our year and kind of what we want to look forward to in the next year. I love doing shows like that. I don't know why. Those are like kind of my favorite. Maybe because it has that twilight of hope. You're like, oh, what could happen? What good
resolutions.
things? Resolution. Well, not necessarily resolutions, but just kind of goals. What are our goals for the following year? What do we want to see? Where do we want to be as people? Not necessarily like, well, I'm going to go to the gym on, whatever. Like
that's not the only thing that a resolution can be.
I know, but that's like the most common, right? That's considered the most common.
You could say, I want to have a new loving relationship.
Well, look, we're doing the show, so I think, yeah. Let's put it out there. We both want a loving relationship. We hope to find somebody of whom...
Speak for yourself. Just kidding. You were so shocked. You're like, your jaw was on the floor.
Well,
you were like...
You don't normally just say stuff like that, Sarah. Like, that's not something I'm used to hearing. You just say just say stuff like that. So.
I don't want a loving relationship.
Wow, yeah, there you go.
Sorry, I just wanted to throw you that curveball. It was very worth it.
Oh, good. Sarah keeping me on my toes the entire time. All right. Well, speaking of keeping people on their toes, what is the next question we have?
What are the best questions to ask on a first date?
Now, this is under the impression that you've asked some questions already after swiping right on whatever app that you use to get you on the first date in the first place, right? Or is this...
No.
This is just the first, like a blind date.
Well, because who knows what else... what you could have possibly known before the date. It has to be... You know what they look like.
Okay.
Here's what you know.
Okay.
I'm deciding the rules.
I like it.
Here's what you know.
The rules. All right, what are the rules?
So here's what you know. You know what they look like.
Okay.
You know their age, their height, all that.
Okay. Okay. What else do you know?
You know they live nearby you.
Okay. So I know
That's
their name, their age, their height. I don't know what their height... I don't know.
Like, you know all the things you're going to know when you see them.
In other words, I won't be surprised when I go and be like, oh my God, that's what you look like.
Yeah, you basically just know the things you're going to know when you see them, and you know their name, and that they aren't, this isn't a long distance thing.
Okay. So.
And that's it.
All right. So, the first question. Okay. Oh, no. Best question asked on a date, on a first date, right? How are you?
Oh, my goodness.
Sorry.
Yes, and you'll want to say hello and, You won't just want to, walk up to them and be like, how much money do you make?
Well, that's a good question. So before we get into best questions, do you think that's an appropriate question? Not how much you make, but how important is how important is the what do you do for a living question when you ask them when you're on a first date?
Well, yeah, I think asking how much they make is not a normal question to just ask somebody, but I think it's really normal to ask someone what they do. Okay. I think that's kind of part of the first date small talk, no matter what,
You know what's funny is the few dates that I've been on, I don't think I ever asked that question.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like I always ask and I always get asked it.
I don't think... I asked what their hobbies were. I asked... I forget what else. I have to think about it for a second because it's been a few years, but I don't think I ever asked
that takes up... That takes up such a big part of our day usually, and sometimes it has to do with what you went to school for, or maybe you have some crazy talent that you are able to get, paid to do.
Oh, okay, paid to do. Because I was gonna say that's different though, because that's something I'd want to ask. So what do you like? That's part of the hobbies thing. It's well, what are your hobbies? What do you like to do, in general? Mm-hmm. That's kind of that to me. That's an important question. What they do, because to me, I think. What a person does, this is why I'm asking, because I'm the weirdo that thinks what a person does unless it's something they really want to do, most people do work to just kind of live, right? Like it's a means to an end. It's not something they love to do. It's not something they give a two craps about, right? They just do it because they know they have to, because they have to pay rent and they have to pay bills. What they really love is the stuff they do outside of that. Like, I feel that's much more a look into, because like if somebody told me, for instance, I'm on a date and I go and they're like, hey, so what do you do? I work at McDonald's. Okay. Like, people automatically judge a person oftentimes by just that, right? Like, well, I work at McDonald's. You don't know why. You don't know, well, it's because I'm in between jobs, or, whatever. That's what they do. And you have a tendency to judge a person based on that. And it's like, no, it's just a means to an end. It's a job I could get right now. What I really want to do is this, but, whatever.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's not that much you can say about that job that would be probably super interesting for conversation. But, like, just because I think most people kind of know what you do with that job. Right. But I think a lot of people pretty much everyone I've dated has had a job that I've never had before. Right. So I always find that interesting. And I always am like, oh, well, tell me what does your day look like? Like, what do you have to know or do to do that? I mean, I probably dated someone who had a job more like, not McDonald's, but something where it's like, okay, I think everybody pretty much knows what that job is like. Right. And maybe I ask them if there's any interesting stories from their job, Now, would that turn you off if they had something fairly, generic, I guess, as a job? If they were working at McDonald's, I'd probably find out what else was going on in their life. If they were like, look, my life is just going to McDonald's and working and then going home, I'd probably be like, that's it. That's like the goal forever, is to just McDonald's in bed. Right. I don't know. I don't think that's much of a life. I mean,
well, no, ambition is important.
If you have like a family you're supporting, so, like, you're working, then you're taking care of your family, and all you have energy left for at the end of everything is bed. That's what you're doing right now. But eventually, your kids will get older, and maybe you can have hobbies and you can learn something and, do something you've always wanted to do. But I think if someone doesn't have anything else going on in their life
other than work,
and their work is, I mean, maybe they love working at McDonald's, but it's probably just like, whatever.
So let's say
that's not a very exciting life.
Let's say they're like a systems analyst at like a sorry, Pete the Podcast just made a cameo. Let's say they're like a systems analyst at some kind of Fortune 500 company, and it takes up 16 hours of their day, but it's all code and it's all like, and would that be
16 hours of their day? Yeah, 16. I don't think they have any time for a relationship.
Okay, maybe not 16, but they're like working 60-hour weeks, right? And they're like, this is my job.
I'd probably be like, so how does a relationship fit into that? Mm-hmm. Like how do you have time for that kind of thing? Because I don't really want to. That would also not be very fun to be in a relationship with someone with just don't have any time.
Right. So work-life balance is very important.
I think so. I mean, I guess 60 hours a week, maybe there's still a lot of time. I'm not really sure. I have to think about that. Like if it was just like work, relationship, sleep, I don't know. Maybe that's I don't know.
Work, right. Yeah. Here's the thing. I don't know. I don't know how anyone has time for anything anyway and nowadays.
Yeah.
Anyway, but
I don't know. But yeah, some kind of work-life balance is important. Mm-hmm. But also, yeah, like if you have a job where you're not really super into it, then there's got to be other stuff going on, or some kind of ambition or dream or something that makes you passionate in life.
Here's a weird question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Because I don't. Yeah. How important do you think it is for? How important do you think it is for a man to find a woman who has big ambitions?
I don't know. I've been with guys who that was really important. And I'm trying to think if I've been with guys who that wasn't as important.
Because I'm curious. I mean, anyone listening, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this because I want to know where that rolls for the gender reversal. Because for me, I think some type of ambition is important, but I can imagine that I don't think that's important for a lot of guys who are already ambitious themselves because maybe they feel like, well, I'm going to be the, whatever. I don't know. That's the only reason why I'm asking because I don't know personally. Like, I don't necessarily feel like, if, for instance, for me, ambition in work, that'd be nice. But I really want them to have, like, a hobby or something that they love to do that they're ambitious towards, right? Like, something that they love.
Yeah, I think that's important to people.
Yeah. But it doesn't have to necessarily be I need to be a manager, like the vice president of my company. Like to me, that's less important than well, I do this thing outside of work that I really love and I want to make it a thing. To me, that's yeah, high five,
I don't know. I think a lot of guys I date, I'm trying to think if there was a guy who was just like, I don't care what you do.
Right.
Maybe there was one, but I think most of the guys I date, it's equally important to both of us that the other person is enjoying their life and is is passionate or looking forward to something,
right,
or doing something. I'm not really the kind of person, I guess, who's I need you to be the vice president or the whatever, but I do want you to like your job.
Sure, right.
And it makes me worried when you're really unhappy with your job or if you're spending a lot of hours of the day unhappy. Maybe there's something else you'd rather be doing.
Right. Yeah. And
then I know most of the guys I date are I don't want you to just be depressed and have nothing to do. I want you to either enjoy your job or enjoy something that you do outside of job hours. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I think it's when I date people, I think we kind of have that equally importance or equal importance on that for each other.
Right.
But it's not really about making the most money. It's about being happy and driven in life in some way.
That's good. I mean, that's good. What is the single best question you can ask on a first date?
Just one?
Just think of one. I know we have many, but gosh. I derailed it by just going off on a tangent, and I apologize for that.
Jeez. Okay.
Or several. I mean, we just can't go into detail, I guess. But if you have,
do you have any kids?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I guess I would ask that as well. Okay. Do you have any kids? That's a good question. Have you ever been in jail?
You have limited questions here.
Oh, that's right. That's an important one. I don't want to
get. It's probably important.
I don't necessarily want to date a convict.
I don't know if have you ever dated someone who's been in jail?
No. Have you been in jail?
No.
I don't know.
But I've been in a relationship with someone who was in jail.
I don't know. I feel like women are less in jail than men anyway, in the grand scheme of things, statistically. So maybe the likelihood of me finding a woman who's been in jail before is less likely.
I mean, maybe.
I don't know. All right. Then how about the hobby thing? I think is super important to me.
What are your hobbies?
What are the hobbies? Yeah. Knowing that they have hobbies at all, I think, is important. Because sometimes people don't have hobbies. Sometimes people just, maybe their hobby is watching TV or something like that, which, that's fine. For some people, that's what I want, is someone who watches, that's what they do, is they will hang out and watch TV with me. Great. But, so the hobbies, I think, is important, because you can really feel someone out based on the hobbies, yeah.
How about, do you smoke? How often do you drink? And any other substances?
Super important, yeah, because they're going to be super disappointed when I do none of that stuff.
And maybe you'll be just like a tiny bit deterred when they're like, I do meth every day.
Well, yeah, meth. If they were like, well, I smoke weed every once in a while, or on the regular, it's like whatever, I don't care. But if you do meth or crack or something, then yeah, I have a little bit of an issue with it.
This is just a tiny bit of a problem.
It's like, oh, so that's how you keep your figure.
Oh my god! But not your teeth.
But not your teeth. You keep your figure, but you lose your teeth.
Yeah.
One for the other. You get to pick one. Which one would you keep?
Well, that's kind of true, though.
It is.
Because, the drugs do keep you thin. That's
true, yeah. I'm the kind of person who'd be like, all right, what is the funniest thing that's ever happened to you, right? That'd be a question I would ask, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or, because for me, it's the weird stuff that makes me know whether or not I'm compatible with somebody. If they have no sense of humor whatsoever, at least I know right off the bat, like, we're not going to get along because I like to laugh. Like, that's one of my favorite things to do is to find things that make me laugh and to make other people laugh. Right. So if you don't have that, if you don't have that in you,
right, it's a problem.
That's a problem. We're going to have to move on. So,
I think those are pretty good questions, at least to start.
Yeah. Are they the best? Oh. The meth one, I think, is the best one. Is whether or not you do meth crack. Yeah. Do you do meth or crack? Well.
None of the other drugs bother me, just meth or crack.
Well, yeah. Well, and okay.
Heroin.
Don't do the top three. Heroin, meth, and crack. Avoid those.
What about coke?
Well, at least you're up. Sometimes I like to stay up late too. So if you need,
oh my gosh,
a little coke to get you there.
No,
just rub it against your gums. You're all right.
But then they're going to have like a heart attack or something.
That's true. They will have a heart attack. But they'll also run a marathon. So, I don't know.
You want your person to be safe and good to themselves.
Yeah. Someone who treats themselves well, who's not abusive of anything. I think anything, no hard drugs, obviously. But, like, again, if they're a coffee drinker and all that stuff, obviously perfectly fine. That's a drug I can get behind is caffeine. But you know what, though? No questions from Right Cow Left Coast.
He did have one question.
Oh, he did have one question, right? And I'll respond to some of the things he said.
He said, "Have you baked a turducken?" There's a place here in San Diego that will have it prepared for you, so you only need to follow their instructions, and you can have a Louisiana origin meat construct.
Have you had duck?
Yes.
Do you like duck?
It's been a while. I think it was all right.
Some people really don't like duck. They like the turkey, they like the chicken, but they feel like the duck ruins it. Because duck has it's not fishy, but it has a different flavor, right?
I don't remember it tasting that strange, but maybe it was just like the way it was prepared. I feel like I would try it. It's the idea of it kind of creeps me out, like the birds stuffed within birds.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's kind of one of those things where you're like, well, should I just try it once?
I would try. I'm an adventurous eater. I would try it because I've never tried it either. I've never had turducken. I just like the name though, turducken. It's a fun name.
Everything about it kind of creeps me out, but I am curious.
Like the name too, turducken kind of.
Yeah. To be honest, it does.
It's a weird name, but that's kind of why I'm fascinated. It's like, oh, turkey, duck, chicken. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I would try it. A turducken. I mean, I've tried other things. I mean, I've had oh my god, that French. It's raw meat with an egg on top, and it's French, and I forget the name. But, yeah,
raw meat.
It's raw
tartare?
Meat. Oh yeah, tartare. Yeah.
Steak tartare.
Steak tartare. Yeah, I've had that. I've had escargot. Oh, more French food. Escargot.
I've had escargot.
But some people won't touch it because it's a snail. It's like it's chewy and kind of good with butter.
I probably wouldn't have it again, but I did try it.
Yeah, I had it on a cruise. Have you ever been on a cruise?
Ooh, I have been on a cruise.
That was like part of the dinner meal, right? Or before we serve you your steaks, have yourself. Oh no, well they didn't talk like that. But
this is a fancy cruise.
Yeah. Oh, sir, would you like to try your? Yeah, no, So I had escargot before my steak or lobster or whatever it was that they served.
Wow.
It's like, okay.
I mean, that's still pretty fancy.
Yeah. Well, it was the one night, and then everything's like, here's your chicken dish, and here's your like.
And then it was like, go to the pizza bar.
Yeah. Oh, that was the best. They're
24-hour
buffet with the pizza bar. Oh, chef's kiss. That was the good stuff. 3:00 in the morning, you're like, oh my god, I will take a slice of pizza.
Yeah.
3:00 in the morning.
Yeah, cruises are pretty awesome, I have to say. I mean, I feel bad because I know they're like terrible for like climate change and stuff.
Oh, well, I mean, what are you going to do? Yeah.
Yeah, they should figure out how to do like an electric one or something because they are pretty cool.
It's just, it's a good time, if you forget the other stuff, forget the climate impact.
Don't think about the impact.
Yeah, if you forget the climate impact and the fact that you're stuck on a boat with like a bunch of people for at least a day before you make land. Where did you go?
Oh, I didn't mind that. It was the Caribbean.
Oh, me too. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, fun. Did you guys go to like all the little islands and stuff?
Cozumel, Jamaica. I forgot what the other 2 places were. There was 4 places total for a 7-day cruise.
You guys went to Jamaica. We didn't go there.
Yeah, I went to Jamaica. Yeah.
It was Caribbean. Yeah. I don't know. They were smaller.
Well, it depends how long you go. Mine was a 7 day, so we went to a lot of places.
Yeah, ours was 7 days
Oh,
too.
wow.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't even remember. Saint something. One of the islands was Saint something, and yeah. It was. I thought it was great.
It is.
It was a big family thing.
Oh, that's fun. Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. I've only been on 2 cruises. I'd like to go on another. I'd want to do. They have one that like lasts all year round, apparently. But anyway, I don't want to.
Oh
do
my
that one.
god!
Yeah.
How much does that cost?
Well, you live on the boat. Like you're renting a room. It's like an apartment, so it has all the amenities. You don't necessarily have to leave, but you can. And it has a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, but then also like all your food, you're paying for all that too.
That's true. I don't remember. It's like 100,000 per person or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah. It's pretty expensive, but I mean,
Yeah.
you get. I mean, 24-hour buffet for like a year.
No, I know. Pretty good. Pretty good deal.
And you get to stop on like exotic places, I guess. So that's kind of cool. But
Yeah.
anyway, not what you were saying there, right, Cow? But yes, I did talk about deep fried turkey with no research, but it was mostly from I was trying to base it off of my anecdotal experience. So, yes, I would try it again too. I would love to go to a place that has deep fried turkey and try it again. It's been at least a decade since I've tried it. But yeah, and look, this is 2 episodes after Thanksgiving because we hadn't experienced Thanksgiving yet the last time. We hadn't had our Thanksgiving actual experience, but it's nice. I went to watch a movie for Thanksgiving. I went, and a couple were sitting in my assigned seat. You have assigned seating, but somehow someone was sitting in my seat. And everywhere I looked were just families and couples, and I'm like, oh, I'll just look for a theater with fewer people in it. So I just changed my time to a theater that had room where I could just sit by my lonesome and pretend that it's not a day for families. Even though a lot of families went to the theater apparently that day.
You had to actually go to a different theater?
Yeah, I changed my ticket.
Oh.
Yeah. Because I'm not going to disturb the couple. I'm like, whatever. You stole my seat, but I don't. Whatever. It's fine.
You're not going to be like, I'm sorry you're sitting in my seat?
I don't care. I was in a mood. I was feeling very. Earlier I was telling you how I was feeling lonely. How it was a lonely time of year. I was feeling kind of like. I don't have the energy. I'm feeling too bleh. So I'm just gonna go and be alone in another
Didn't even
theater.
just like walk off to the side and then throw some popcorn at them and then run away.
I should. Don't ever take Sarah to a movie theater.
Well, just don't sit in my seat.
Don't sit in my seat. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Don't sit in my seat. And someone was sitting in my seat. That's very true. But the one thing I miss about kind of pandemic time movie theaters is that they emptied seats beside you, so you were away from people. I liked that. I don't want anyone sitting beside me in a movie theater. I want to have elbow room, and I don't want to hear whatever they're saying or hear them breathing. I just want to watch my movie.
I really miss having all that extra space from people. I'm still very germophobic, and I don't like people being right up next to me. And, I definitely miss all that.
I'm not germophobic per se, but I do not like being near people in a movie theater. I feel like same thing with an airplane, right? Like I had to fly a few weeks ago, and I'm the kind of person who's like, okay, I will scrunch up into the tiniest ball just to give you room because I do not want to touch you, and I don't want you to feel like you have to like elbow into my, to get the armrest. You have the armrest. Leave me alone. I'm gonna go ball up in a corner.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I do. I miss the precautions people took. Like, obviously, it's great that people aren't as concerned anymore, but I just miss that. Like, on a plane, people probably aren't wearing masks all the time, and
no
you
one
go
was.
places and people aren't giving you space, and it's like we could still like be cautious.
Yeah.
That's still okay.
Yeah, I'm not angry with that. Let's have some caution. Let's have some space. Let's allow each other to breathe our own air and not have to share yours. That would be nice.
Yeah, and like this is the season when everyone's giving each other everything because we're all inside and we're all close.
Yeah. This is the. I mean, there's a reason why you get your flu shots and stuff, right? Like, there's a reason why you get you prepare because people are going to get sick. As a matter of fact, I often, people are just calling out sick left and right everywhere. So, just be careful out there, folks. It's okay. Don't worry about it. If you feel like you need to wear the mask, wear it. It's all right.
I do a lot still.
Nothing. No one's gonna look. Hopefully, people are just gonna leave you alone. Just be like, okay, that's what you got to do. Whatever makes you feel like you can be outside. Just be outside though too.
Oh, not like outside. I don't wear it outside, but
no, not outside. Like
places.
I mean out of your place.
Oh yeah. When I'm outside I don't.
No.
Yeah, if I go into like crowded places, I still put it on.
Sure. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. But again, I'm Asian, so I've been used to that way before the stuff.
Yeah, but you lived here your whole life.
Yeah, but I mean, I was around it though. Like, I still saw it all around me. And that was like a common thing amongst the people of, of Asian descent. I don't know how to say it. Just like,
In your family?
Even in the family, yeah. Just like people wore masks. I remember years before, I would say about 6 or 7 years ago, I had a really bad flu, right? I worked away from people. But I'm like, I'm in an office by myself, but people come in every once in a while because I was in a separate office. I was just one door over. But I'm like, I don't want to get anyone sick. So I just wore a mask when people were around me way before it was cool. Just because I'm like, I don't want to get anyone else sick. And I'm here, I know I'm going to work sick, but I'm 99% of the time alone. This is just precaution for if anyone decides to come in. But I'm 99% of the time by myself, away from everyone. I didn't feel bad. I didn't feel like I was going to get anyone sick because we were in 2 separate offices.
But you still, that stuff still does like live on surfaces. So it's smart of you to wear a mask.
Yeah.
Before the pandemic, I had some jobs where I'd be like, if we get sick or, there's something going around, are you okay if we wear masks? And they'd be like, no, don't wear a mask. It's going to make, customers or clients feel weird. But now it would be fine.
Yeah, now it would be fine. Yeah, and again, it's it's part of the kind of the culture now, sort of.
Yeah.
I mean, sort of. I say that lightly.
Sort of.
But anyway, All right. Look, we have. We're going to wrap up things with. Well, you know what?
An article.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
an article of an interesting topic. So maybe it'll explain some things. Sarah, what are we talking about based on this article? What are we talking about today?
Why so many people are dishonest in their
Because
relationships.
they hate their partner. No, oh no, that's not it.
I mean, sometimes maybe.
That's true, yeah. Sometimes they hate their partner, yeah.
That could be a reason.
So dishonesty. I mean, I gotta ask you. How have you ever felt justified to be dishonest when you're in a relationship?
I'm actually pretty honest. I'm probably more honest in my romantic relationships than I am with my other relationships.
Yeah.
And it usually when I'm dishonest, it's because I don't I want to get out of something.
Right. Yeah.
So, and usually I will say this, usually when I say I can't do something, I actually can't do it. Like I do have something else going on, but, because I do say yes to a lot of things also.
Sure.
But sometimes I just don't want to, and I don't have anything going on. So, I will say something other than I just don't want to.
Right. You'll make up an excuse to why you can't
Right.
do the thing. Okay. That's a pretty good. That's a white lie,
Yeah, I generally do that less in my romantic relationships. I'll be more honest about that with them.
Okay.
I have kind of this feeling that lies will just catch up to you.
Yeah. No. Well, yes, they will.
So I tend not to do it too much in those relationships.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Which maybe being afraid of some kind of comeuppance isn't the best reason to be honest, but
Well, yeah. Look. I mean, sometimes it's for the best to sometimes at least fib a little bit. Longtime listeners to this show will know that I could learn a lesson from being dishonest.
There are times when a white lie is better. Sometimes people don't need to know everything you're thinking.
Right. And when I'm in a relationship specifically, I'm a pretty open book and I'm pretty uncensored when it comes to my thoughts on things. Even if it means
telling her she better go back and change because she looks terrible.
I was, Sarah obviously could tell I was trying to avoid talking about it. She just put it out there. But yes,
you sounded like you were about to say something and then you stopped for 3 seconds. So I thought you wanted me to finish the sentence.
I did. No, I did. But yes, she's right. Sarah's right. I was a little in the one place where it's expected that the the boyfriend at least say something non-offensive at the very least. I go and straight up say, "Don't wear that outside."
Oh my God!
Can you please change? No, I wouldn't say you can please change, but if they ask me, if I was asked. And I've learned my lesson. Sarah's taught me well. And I've learned my lesson. I think that the next time I find myself in a relationship and I am asked those questions, I will find a clever way to be. But I feel like they will know.
Well, you know what? You know what else you could do? You yourself could start dressing like a GQ model 24/7, and then it won't seem so bad when you tell them that they need to change.
No. Here's the thing. If I was told, if I were, well, you're right. Yeah, I mean, I will wear my suits and my vests as often as I possibly can, then too, so that I too can say hello, miss, please. Not with that. All right. Anyway, so why are people dishonest in their relationships? We have reasons, right? There's purpose behind the dishonesty.
Let's see. What did they say?
What did they say?
They said Sometimes it's a defense mechanism.
Right.
Such as, if I tell the truth, then I have to explain why I did what I did and why. Yes.
Yes.
So I guess they're just like, I don't want to get in trouble for the thing I did.
Right. I
So
got caught.
I'm going to say I was doing something else. Yeah, I guess so.
That's not a good reason to do it.
No, I mean, nobody wants to get an argument or a fight or admit that they were doing something wrong. So, but if you did something wrong,
what if it's really
might just
minor?
have to-
Like, I don't know. I was the one who turned the toilet roll underhanded versus overhand.
well, what are you going to say? The cat did it? I mean,
Well, it is to
I don't know how
prevent
you're
the
gonna
cat
get away-
from pulling it, right? Like, that's the reason why you do it under versus over, so that the cat can't pull at it.
what?
That's what I've been told. The reason why the
But
only
then the cat just goes at it against the wall and it still pulls down.
Oh. I was told. Again, I can't prove this because my cat never did it. But if you do it in reverse, they're less they'll paw at the roll, but it'll go in on itself when it's going under. They don't normally paw at the dangling bit of toilet paper. They'll paw at the roll itself. So the roll goes in reverse and they never unravel the roll.
I feel like it's more of a cat thing to go for the dangly bit, though.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. You're probably right. This is all I've been told, but my cat never did it, so I never had to worry.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess we'll see. If you did that, then you could give your reason, and then they'd be like, that's silly. Just put it on the other way. But like,
that's true. I'm giving it. I guess that's a bad dishonest. But like, yeah, I think being this in that sense, there's very little reason.
Yeah, because what's something so small that you could do
matter.
that it wouldn't matter, but that you're afraid to tell them?
Oh, I can think of something. Like, let's say you bake the cake, and I happen to swipe some of the frosting from the cake, and that's why it looks the way it does. That's pretty minor, right? I swiped some frosting because I wanted some frosting, but now there's like a little bit of a mark on the cake. Your perfectly made cake, but I stole some of the frosting, and now that's why it looks that way.
So that doesn't seem like a big deal, but see, this is where lies are a problem, because now you're making it a big deal. Because what am I going to do? Am I going to blame the cat and make him take some kind of medicine that makes him throw up because I'm afraid he's going to get sick from it?
Right.
Or am I going to blame the niece that came over and be like, we're not inviting them over anymore?
That's true. To what extent are you going to go? How far will you take that lie? That's true.
You might get in trouble, but I think it's probably better.
Yeah.
This is my whole thing where it's like lies are going to come back and get you, so I really try to avoid them if I can, because I can always think of like how it could snowball.
Right. Like the only thing, again, the way someone looks in clothing, right? Like I guess that's one of the very few
white
really
lies are
lies.
yeah. White lies are different.
Yeah.
Or saying you love a gift that you don't.
Right.
Or saying like, I would love to go see your family today, but I'm not feeling well, instead of I hate your family. Like that could be like that might be an important talk to have, but like maybe not this moment. No. So you could say, I'm not feeling well, and then later be like, also,
by the way,
I'm a little uncomfortable around them, but let's talk about that, I guess.
Sure. Well, that's the second one, right?
The other one
protecting
is
those we love. I think that's where that kind of falls into those types of lies, where you don't want to hurt their feelings immediately, but you're trying to soften the blow of like, well.
Yeah. Right. It's a white lie.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the first one, it's honestly a defense mechanism, is probably the one where people get in trouble. That's the really bad one.
Yeah.
Just when you're lying to cover your tracks, basically.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
This is how do we justify lying? How do we justify in our own minds when it's okay to be dishonest or tell a half-truth? How does this affect our friendships or relationships? Does it hurt less to tell a lie than it would if we were honest and transparent? Well, the white lies are usually making it hurt less.
Well, the white lies, especially since those are things that you necessarily have to ever back up afterwards, right? Like if you liked a gift, if you didn't like a gift, but you just said you did, rarely does your partner go up to you and be like, so, that gift I gave you,
like,
huh?
I haven't seen you wear that antler hat I made for you.
Please tell me this is based off a real thing you've done.
And we're going to your company party tonight, so I think this would be the perfect opportunity to prove to me how much you appreciate it.
Ooh, oh no, a test of your love. You must do the silly thing that I've asked you to do. How about when it comes to food? Let's say your partner made you what they thought was a delicious meal.
Oh, yeah. See, that's where I have a hard time with the white lies. Yeah. Like, I will be as gentle as I can, but I can't let someone think that I loved something and then they make it over and over again.
Right.
And then I just keep saying, like, oh, I wasn't that hungry, and, like, pushing it all off to the side every time,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. Oh, you've made it again. I just had some Subway on the way home, so I'm not really that hungry, but thanks. Appreciate it.
I'm usually pretty clear with people that I date, like, the stuff I don't like in food. And then if they make something that seems like it would be fine and I taste it, I try to be really gentle about it. Like,
so you've actually done this before. You've actually had to tell somebody, by the way.
It's been a long time. It's been a really long time since I've been with someone who, like, cooked me something where I was like, oh no, you know? But I usually probably say something like, oh, you know, this is really interesting. You know, I'm not usually a huge fan of this, but I really love this, you know?
That's a good way. That's a good way of doing it, right? Yeah. You
but I really love the rice. Right. Yeah.
You encourage them to make the other thing. Right.
Yeah. Don't love everything else you made, but I love this side of steamed broccoli. This is very interesting.
You know this piece of bread that you put on the side? I love the bread.
Opened a bag and took it out and put it on here.
The bread was probably, it's so fresh.
Fantastic.
Where did you get it?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, something like that.
No, but dear, what about the other stuff? Well, no, the bread. The bread was really good.
Let's focus on the bread.
Yeah,
next time, let's just do bread.
Aw, all right.
Yeah, so I it's been a really long, so I can't quite remember, but I remember it was, I did something like that, and I don't even remember who that was, because I usually actually date people who are pretty good cooks.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
But, you know, also sometimes someone likes something and it's just like an ingredient that I don't like.
Sure.
And I hate to tell them that I don't like it, but, you know, they usually understand. It's not their cooking of it, it's the ingredient.
No, I'm with you. Again.
I dated someone who loved beets. And I was like, I'm one of those people who, like, beets taste like soil to me.
I mean, wow. I don't know.
There's something in them and it tastes like soil to some people.
Well, oh God, what is it that tastes like?
Cilantro tastes like soap.
Yeah.
I actually love cilantro. I can taste a little bit of that soap taste, but I still love it. But beets taste like soil to me. It made me so sad to tell him that because I knew how much he loved beets, but it had nothing to do with how he cooked them. It's something in the beets.
All I want to say is that no, don't say it. Then he should have been a drummer. Okay, I said it. Anyway.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry. Sorry. Okay. Moving on. Yeah. So no, stuff like that is really tough to kind of be honest about. I totally get it.
Yeah, you don't want to hurt their feelings, but you also, it's like a soft honesty. You're not being 100% honest, but you're also, you know, you're not just lying because it's going to really affect you for a long time if you do.
I feel like if you have to lie and you feel like you need to lie, then obviously the thing that you're doing or the thing that you're lying about is a bad thing. Like, I feel like we have that ingrained in us already, right? Like, if we have to lie about it, we already know it's bad, right? Like, we shouldn't be doing it or it shouldn't be happening, and therefore it shouldn't be something we lie about, right?
I feel like if you're lying because you're ashamed of something,
Sure.
That's probably a bigger deal than if you're lying because you're afraid to hurt someone's feelings.
Right. Yeah.
But, and I'm not talking about little white lies. There are times when you can lie or lie by omission to not hurt someone's feelings where that can snowball too, or that can turn out to be a really bad thing, even though maybe in the grand scheme of things, it's not as deceptive as lying to like cover your tracks, like we were saying.
Right. Yeah, because for me, they're talking about why you can't be honest, and every time I think about lying, I have a hard time with lying. That's the reason why I have a hard time with lying. I have the memory of a squirrel, so I'm going to forget that I lied. And I'm going to tell the truth at some point because I'm going to forget that I lied about a thing.
That's what they're saying in this article.
Yeah. Well, yeah, right?
You slip up.
Yeah. So I try not to lie simply because I know I'm going to forget what the lie is anyway at some point. And it has caught up to me. I remember there was this one time when I was much younger and my memory was still horrible where I don't remember what specifically I lied about, but it was brought up in conversation around a bunch of people. And I couldn't remember what the hell they were talking about because I forgot that I lied about it.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
And so, luckily, it wasn't that big a deal. But I still lied about it for whatever reason. And I just remember feeling just like, what an idiot. Why would I, like, why, what is going on? Like, I don't remember why I even lied about it in the first place. So, I don't like, which is why no one should ever tell me their secrets either, I guess. I mean, well, I guess yes and no. I will forget the secret anyway. But also, sometimes I forget if something's a secret.
That it was a secret?
Yeah. So, sometimes I'll forget. And I found myself, which is why I don't say a lot. Sometimes I'll just stop myself from saying anything, which might seem like a lie, but it isn't. Because I was told something that I don't think I was supposed to say, and I'll be like, oh, should I say something?
Yeah.
I think that's a secret. I'm just not going to, okay. And I just move on with life. Like, whatever. But,
yeah.
Anyway. So my memory's terrible.
Well, that's okay. It's better to be honest because this article wraps up saying that trust once lost is difficult to regain. So it's better to just not lie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's people who've lied to me and I don't know. I just never.
You can't trust them again.
Yeah. Like it takes a while.
Yeah.
But most of the time you're right. Most of the time I just kind of like, well, I can't, especially if it's big enough. If it's tiny, obviously I don't care. But if it's big, like obviously if it's really big. I mean, I lost, during the dark times when I got divorced and all that stuff, I lost my entire support group because all of them lied. Right? Like I had a whole group of like a whole chunk of people lie to me all at once, which is the worst part. And so I had no one for a really long time. And it sucks. And I didn't trust anyone for years. As a matter of fact, I still have a little bit of a hard time trusting people nowadays. But,
Yeah. I mean, that's like, big betrayals. Fine. Yeah, that can be tough. For me, also, like some people, when I find out they've been lying a lot or whatever, I'm just like, they're a liar. Like, that's just how I see them now. And I probably wouldn't believe much of what they say. And if I look back in the past, I'm like, oh yeah, they were probably lying about that too.
Yeah.
So, it might not necessarily mean that alone makes me like cut them out of my life. Or I probably don't, like people like this, I probably wouldn't see that much anyways.
Right.
But that's like a big personality trait I attribute to them now, is that they're a liar.
Yeah. Now, those types of people, obviously you keep at arm's length. I mean, it's kind of cool that you it sounds like you would to some degree keep them around.
I'm trying to think if any of them actually are still in my life. I think, like, I wouldn't necessarily, like, hate them for that, but I might, like, I had a coworker once, and it was just like, wow, I just can't believe anything she says. It's not a big deal because I don't really work directly with her, and mostly everything she's lying about is just her personal life. But, yeah, it's just very weird to me that there's this person who's just, everything that comes out of their mouth seems to be not true.
Yeah. I know of some people who learn to navigate, like, their personality is, there's something about them that's very sweet and nice and stuff, but then they just have a tendency to exaggerate their lives. It doesn't hurt anybody. They kind of exaggerate the life that they have, so therefore they're lying. But they're like, I was this and I was that, and like, well, no, we were there, you weren't. But you're not hurting anybody by saying that. Yeah.
I mean, some of those things aren't really that hurtful, and probably most of what she was telling me was never going to affect me anyways. Right. I was like, that doesn't sound real at all, but whatever. But some of her lies did end up getting her fired. So it wasn't just exaggerations. Yeah. And then I knew someone else who was a very good liar, and he's not in my life anymore at all, but I just think back to him a lot, and I'm like, wow, he was just, like, lying was just kind of very second nature to him. And I think sometimes he was almost like proud of himself at how good he was at it, or like he would lie and kind of be like, oh, I'm totally convincing them this is true. Yeah. You know?
Oh, I know.
And it's just interesting. And sometimes I would hear him lying to somebody else when I was sitting right there and knew what the truth was. And I could hear him telling a complete falsehood to somebody else, like on the phone. Yeah. I almost wanted to, like, speak up and be like, not true. I can see right now that that's not true.
It's like, why would you say that? I was there. Like, why would you say that out loud to somebody else? Like, what is going on?
So it's kind of just like a little bit fascinating to me. Like, it's just a different personality, and I think it all comes down to, like, for him, I think it was part of a whole thing of manipulation. Sure. For her, my coworker, I don't know. She had stuff going on. I can't. Well, I don't know.
The example I was giving was from somebody who was just envious of the lives of the people around them, and they could never compare to their life to theirs because they were genuinely doing stuff that was adventurous or interesting or weird, and they didn't have that kind of life, and so therefore they would exaggerate stuff that happened in their lives to kind of just like, well, I'm one of you guys. I'm one of you, and they're often like, don't worry about it. You don't have to be. We like you for who you are. But they, she still feels like I have to compete. I have to be. I have to be able to impress people the way that you guys impress people with your stories. I want to be able to do the same thing because I see that reaction. I see how people react to the things that you tell them, and I want to have that same feeling. And so they go out of their way to be. I mean, again, the lies aren't hurting anybody, but it's also not true, right? So they're just not telling you the truth. So it's just like, okay, well, it's impressive, but it's not true. So, well.
Yeah. I think this girl probably wanted to impress people, but there was something else going on too, because it just got crazy. Yeah. And she told some weird lies to get the job, which is why she got fired.
That I'm not surprised, though. People tell lies to get jobs all the time, I think.
I mean, stuff that makes you wonder, like, legally, like, what her deal is. Oh, all right. It wasn't just like, oh, I can do this task and that task, and like, well, clearly you can't. Like, she lied on some forms or something. Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's a bit much, but there you go. So the moral of the story is try not to lie that much, guys. Be as honest as you possibly can. It's just
It's
easier
best
that
to
way.
be honest.
Yeah.
Honesty is the best policy.
It is. It is. So there you go. And we honestly love all of you guys. Thank you so much for listening. You have your choice of podcast, and you decide to listen to us. So that's what makes you guys special and lovely. Enjoy the cold weather. We're getting closer as we inch ever so much into the holiday season. We're going to talk about Christmas and every other holiday wrapped up in between. We're going to talk about New Year's and our expectations. So you have stuff to look forward to. We're going to give you that stuff, and as a thank you, we'll say hi if we ever meet you. Hi. Give you a high five or something. Fist bump you. Stuff like that. Thanks for listening. If you want to write in, isthislovepod@gmail.com. Isthislovepod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And, of course, you can find myself at AKA The Other Guy on Twitter and Instagram. I tweet a lot. I tweeted my latest if I did a festival, a music festival, who would not highlight, was it? Who would, whatever, headline, thank you, the nights. Apparently, my first night would be headlined by Taylor Swift, which is
Yay.
a surprise to no one, I suppose. And Weird Al is in there, too, as well. So check it out. It's funny. I listen to everything. My music makes no sense. I just listen to everything. You can also follow Sarah at serenade.and.pete. You'll get a picture of her profile in a little tiny circle, so you get to look at that. And that's it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out. We'll talk to you all next time with a brand new episode. We love you. Bye, everybody.